Today, the rookies have cometh into the building and are getting ready for training camp. And we're going to talk about the questions and the needs still heading into training camp. What is up, Finn fans? Hope you guys are having a fantastic Tuesday. Like I said in that quick little intro, the rookies are reporting to camp today. I think the Dolphins will probably be posting social media stuff of them walking into the building. And then next week at this time, the vets will be reporting. And then the 23rd, they start practice. And the first camp open to the public will be Saturday, the 26th. And then we will get reports and I'll give you play-by-play and we'll give all that good stuff. And we're back into the football groove. And then also give you more times and dates and speculations. So let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, little over 4 weeks. So about a month, because we play on the 10th. The Miami Dolphins will be taking on the Chicago Bears in Chicago on August 10th. So we got a lot going on. We're getting back into the full swing of things, into the full swing of football. Real quick though, some of you guys have hit me up about the merch. I've noticed some of you guys have bought the merch. If you want to know what the crap I'm talking about. Nope, that's not it. This is it. New merch up on the shop. The other stuff is on there, like Sign This Man, my free agent merch, Don't Be Like This Guy for the grumpy Dolphin fans, and my original DDW merch. There's also stickers and other stuff. If you want to, don't feel like you need to go out and buy some stuff. I just make this stuff because it kind of represents the fan base, especially the Show Me for 2025, because again, we hear all this stuff. So if you do go out and get merch, first off, one of you guys asked me, is it made in the USA? Yes, it is made in the USA. It is not from China or anywhere else. Made in the USA. And if you do grab yourself some, when you get it, if you want, don't feel like you need to, but if you want a shout out for being an awesome human being and grabbing yourself some stuff, put it on, take a picture, and I will shout you out in a video. Thanking you so much for going and grabbing yourself some DDW stuff. Linked in the description. Go check it out. Also, this video has a sponsor, and that's Clean the World. Good friend of mine, Sean Seipler, does fantastic things for people in need. We had a horrific flood happening in Texas that took the lives of too many people, and he helps, whether it's third world countries, natural disasters like what happened in Texas, or the hurricanes that hit Florida, or the hurricanes that hit other places. He goes and he makes sure that these people have clean drinking water with his wash foundation or soap and hygiene products that they need, whether it's, again, the homeless, natural disasters of third world countries. Go check him out, cleantheworld.org. He does some fantastic things for people of need. So, like I said, today rookies are coming in. So I thought, let's talk about some of the needs and questions that the Miami Dolphins still have going into training camp. And there are a few, right? There are a few needs, not that many needs anymore, which is fantastic, but there's still two, in my opinion, two big fat needs that need to be addressed. And then there are some questions that, you know, what are we going to do and all that stuff. So let's start with the needs because they're not that many. Obviously, we still need a starting corner. I talked about it yesterday where we looked at the depth at the cornerback position. We talked about the camp battle positions and all that stuff and how we might have one starter in Kader Kohu, but outside of that, we don't have really a legit finite starter. And one of you guys commented, and again, I read all your comments, that's kind of the point of training camp. Everyone battles and then, you know, one clear winner comes out of it. And I don't want to be disrespectful for the guys that are on the roster because we could find the next guy, right? Like we can come out and find the next Nick Needham or another guy like this that, you know, comes out and, you know, a late round pick or whatever and becomes something really good and become a starter and, you know, have multiple interception seasons, you know, Pro Bowl or all pro. But to sit back and say, well, let them compete, and whoever's the best deserves the job. That's the point of training camp. But also, it's like, how do I say this without being disrespectful? That's like, I'm trying to like think of analogies I was going to say, like me and my friends, you say, hey, whoever's the best basketball player and I win, doesn't mean much because my friends suck at basketball. Kind of like that. Again, I'm 6'5". I played basketball. So it's like, obviously, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're having these guys compete to find a winner, but like, if you're having a group of guys who technically on any other roster would be a third stringer competing to be the starter, that still doesn't mean you have a corner. Am I making any sense in what I'm saying? So the Dolphins still need to go out and get a corner. Again, maybe this is the week. Vets are supposed to, come in on next Tuesday. So maybe somebody comes up or the Dolphins make a move. Again, I don't know what the cap situation is. I've seen different numbers, different places. Also, we don't know the moving pieces and all that stuff. So we'll see how that all pans out. But obviously, they need a starting corner. So the Dolphins need to do what they need to do to get that piece moving. So we need a corner. Plain and simple. The other need, obviously, is offensive line depth. The big boys tend to crash into each other, so there is a need for good depth on the offensive line and the defensive line, but mostly the offensive line, because God forbid one of these guys go down, we're screwed, and two of them are coming off season-ending injuries, and hoping that they are where they were before they got injured. So, obviously, offensive line depth. Now, some of the questions going into camp. Contract extensions. Is Sealer going to get a contract extension? Contract's in a hole, actually. Is Sealer going to get an extension? Is he going to hold out? I don't think he'll hold out. I'd be shocked if Sealer isn't here for the 23rd first day of training camp where everyone's on the field. Jonah Savaianaya. Is he going to be here today? Is he going to continue to hold out like the other second round picks to get a fully guaranteed contract? Contracts are the big thing. The other one, Mika Fitzpatrick, will he be here on the 22nd, or does he want a new contract because he has no guaranteed money? These are the big questions surrounding the team right now. Contracts. And as we've heard in some of the rumors and, things that we've witnessed with our eyes, it seems like Ross has closed the bank, closed the checkbook, and said, this is your team. You need to figure it out, because if you don't, you're gone. That's what I'm getting. So that's one of the questions. The other question, culture. We've heard it all season. And again, culture. And that's where this comes from, because that's all we hear. Change of culture. Well, show me. Show me that the culture is there. And that's what we need to see. We need to see all of the guys that are going to be here, who are going to be our guys, going to be our starters, showing up next Tuesday. Everyone. Tua, Waddle, Hill, Phillips, Chubb, Kenneth Grant, Sealer, like every guy that we are depending on, every guy that is on this roster that has a contract to show up. That's what we need to see. And that is the first step in that culture, that they're here and there's no holdouts and there's none of this stuff happening. So that's the biggest question. This culture thing, is it something that's going to happen? Are we going to get the 2023 culture where all of a sudden all the team is together, unified, having fun, celebrating touchdowns? Or are we going to get the 2024 culture where everyone kind of mentally checked out, especially once they hit 2-6? It seems like the team was just like, whatever. Chubb is injured, Phillips is injured, Javon Holland is banged up, Tyreek Hill is dealing with wrist injuries, Jalen Waddle's banged up. Oh, look at the offensive line is now falling apart. Austin Jackson's done for the team just mentally checked out. What kind of culture are we going to get? Obviously, I was talking about that stuff. Also, a big fat question mark is health. How much of James Daniels are we going to see? How much of Austin Jackson are we going to see? How much of Tyreek Hill are we going to see? All of these guys are coming off of injuries. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. How much are we going to see them on the field? Is Mike McDaniel going to do what he normally does with these vets and hold them off and be like, well, we don't need them out there? Or is there a culture change and he's going to allow these guys to practice more than he has in the past and not give so many vet days off, where we start the season slow because these guys haven't really done anything? So again, health, culture, all those things are big fat question marks. Obviously, I touched upon this before. Mika Fitzpatrick, that's another question. What's going on with him? We haven't heard from him. We've seen him training. He's training hard. He's looks like he's in fantastic shape, so that's a plus. But We haven't heard from him. We haven't heard if he's happy to be back in Miami, if he doesn't want to be back in Miami. He's kept his head down and working hard, but we'll see come next Tuesday. Is he walking through the door? His presser after the 23rd is, I'm pretty sure, he's probably going to be one of the guys that the media is going to ask to talk to, not about, after the 23rd, after their first practice, and be like, how are you feeling? How is it being back in the building? Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. We all know that those guys are going to be asking them a ton of questions. But these are the things that us fans want to know, see how they're doing, to his health, the connections, the offensive line, unity. Again, that's where we need Jonas Savoinaya. I lost it for a second. Savoinaya. Jeez. I gotta get it like mentally planted in my head. That's where we need Jonah here, because we need that continuity. We need the offensive line to be working as a whole. So we can't have these bad questions where who's going to show up. Is there going to be holdouts? Now, like I said, I really, really, really doubt Sealer's going to, hold out. I think he'll come in. But I also think that his agent might be like, go, do your thing. But also kind of like what Tua did. But Tua signed his contract before training camp started, but like mini camp and stuff where he was there, but he wasn't playing. Same thing with Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins was there for the first week of training camp, but he wasn't practicing until, all right, now I'm going to practice. Kind of, I don't want to get hurt before I have any guarantees in my contract and all that stuff, because God forbid something does happen, you're screwed. So there are, this Miami Dolphin team is a question in itself. And there's a video I'm going to react to. Dolphins 2025 puzzle. Somebody called this a puzzle, and they broke it down and they talked about it. I'm going to react to that this week. I'm also going to do a film breakdown on Zach Wilson's game against the Kansas City Chiefs when he was the Jets. It was like his best game. I want to break it down and see what we possibly can get, if we can get the best out of him. So that's also going to be this week. But a lot of what we're going to be talking about, a lot of what's going to be happening up until the 22nd is getting prepared for training camp. Like Monday, I'm going to have a training camp preview video where, for people who don't know, I'm going to be breaking down the rules of training camp and what days the pads come on and how this works and how that works, because they can't just, I think the first day of pads is the 26th. I think the day, I think it has to be after 3 days, then they put pads on. So I think that the first day open to the public on the 26th, Saturday, is when they'll have pads on. And that's when we'll really get to know what we have. Because not only is there a ton of questions going into training camp, there's a ton of questions going into the season, because we don't know what we have. We have the offensive line, the offense can only go as far as the offensive line can take us. The secondary is just a big fat question mark. The pass rush, we don't know what we're going to get at. Like, this team is just one big question mark. If everything goes perfectly, they can be an 11-win team. If everything goes horribly, they can be a 3-win team. It's like there's this huge range of what this team can be. And like Adam Rank, we talked about it, Friday? He did his record prediction, which bodes well for the Dolphins. I'll say that, because his record predictions are the worst. Not like he's the worst, but like he'll predict a team to win 5 games. That team will actually end up winning 11. He predicted the Dolphins to win 7. Like, he had us beating Buffalo but losing to Cleveland. Go back and watch Friday's video. It was just convoluted as all hell. But a lot of people don't know what this team is going to be. A lot of people have us losing games that we could possibly win, winning games that we could possibly lose. We don't know. But I want you guys to comment below. What besides corners and offensive line depth, is there a need? And don't say quarterback. You know what? Don't get me wrong. I would like a better backup quarterback, but if Tua does get hurt, I'm at the mentality of put Quinn Ewers in there and see what you got out of him. But is there a need that I didn't talk about besides corner and offensive line depth that you think that this team needs? And what is your biggest question going into training camp that you want to see answered? Comment below. Let me know. I will see you tomorrow. I'm thinking tomorrow we're going to react to the Dolphins video about the 2025 being a puzzle. Like I said, we are also going to do a film breakdown of Zach Wilson versus the Chiefs when he was with the Jets. And I got one other video planned for this week. And then next week really starts training camp. So we're almost there. But I'll see you tomorrow. Like usual, stay classy. FN's out.